we are exporting some goods from Nepal to Bangladesh, and that you are also doing agreement with Nepal and Bangladesh standard boards, if I'm correct. That's why we need to have some quality certification.
Yes, yes. We want
Yeah.
Nepal to export to Bangladesh. That's why we are working on standardization and phytosanitary measures.
Thank you so much, which is also as per the WTO standards. And then she also spoke about the lack of information. We are living in the age of globalization. We are in the internet age. But still we are not able to really exploit the information, use the information for the benefit of our trade and economy and between the two countries. Is there any possibility that between Nepal and Bangladesh that access to information can be easily available for the benefit of people and the trade and economy? I want to ask this question to Mr. Ramesh.
Well, I think it's not the availability of means of communication, availability of information, it's the overwhelming presence of China and India in Nepal's trade. So you don't look for other countries for opportunities or for commodities or for cheaper items when the Indian suppliers and the Chinese suppliers are so overwhelming. That's the one reason because of which the information dissemination among the partners is poor, which can be improved by having more of interaction with Excellency also suggested that trade fairs in Kathmandu or many locations in Nepal, like Bangladeshis can easily export to Kakarvita and Viratnagar area. Viratnagar of Nepal happens to be our manufacturing hub, where much of the intermediary items from Bangladesh can be sourced, just as they are sourcing from India. It can easily be sourced from Bangladesh as well. A lot of garment factories in Viratnagar area and Jhapa area can have some kind of twinning arrangements with the Bangladeshi partners, where finishing can be done in Bangladesh, part of the work can be done here. So that is possible only through the regular interaction between the Chamber of Commerce of two countries, between the Federation of two countries. I think that's the necessity.
Thank you. Thank you for your remarks. You talk about really making that information access easily available to the interested people to promote our trade and economy. How do you see the role of Nepalese ambassador based in Bangladesh, who can really be instrumental to enhance our trade and economy and also the access to information to the interested parties? How do you see the role? What will be their role? What sort of coordination they need to do with our Bangladeshi ambassador to Nepal and Nepalese ambassador to Bangladesh? What government has to do? As you are an experienced bureaucrat, you know what sort of strategy need to be developed so that our students, our future generation will also learn something new from our perspectives.
I think this is better answered by Purushottamji because he has been dealing with Nepali embassy based in Bangladesh and also Bangladeshi embassy based in Kathmandu. Well, the Nepali diplomacy oftentimes has failed, and I regret to say this, I'm not blaming anyone, on the economic diplomacy. It has been purely foreign relations or improving relations between two countries, all political, nothing about economic. It's not only in the case of Nepal-Bangladesh trade relationship, but also in the case of any other countries where Nepal has an issue particularly. For example, we had a serious issue of trade restrictions between India and Nepal. We all experienced the blockade. We have been experiencing different types of extra additional tariff by different names on our garment, on our vegetable ghee, on our quota, all those things. Our embassy in Delhi was never proactive in dealing with those issues, even not reactive. They didn't even react. So the Commerce Ministry in Kathmandu was always hard-pressed to have that sort of bilateral diplomatic relationship. Am I wrong? So this is something which the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Kathmandu has to seriously think about and improve.
Thank you so much. The same question also goes to Mr. Purushottam for the remark.
Thank you, Gopalji. Actually, what I see that the causes behind poor development of trade, it is not the, in my opinion, it is not the lack of information. Because Bangladesh, Nepal, in all countries in South Asian region, we have developed very good communication infrastructure. And even you see the product, information on the product, information on export process, import process, all these are available, you see, in the internet, in the website of the respective organization. The main problem here is, you see, competitiveness of the product. Why we have not been able to compete with Bangladesh? I mean, why we have not been able to export to Bangladesh? Actually, it is the low competitiveness of Nepalese product. Our labor cost is high, labor productivity is low. So while we talk about manufacturing, actually Bangladesh excels us very much, because the productivity of the Bangladesh labor is quite high in comparison to Nepal. Even they have gone for, you see, high-tech industry. Say for example, garment. Actually, Bangladesh has excelled, and it is now number 2 garment exporter to globally. Globally, it is number 2. But after 2005, we have not been able to keep pace, and even to maintain the, you see, export of garment that was before that. That remained before that. So, in a sense, you see, in order to enhance the export, we have to have the develop competitiveness. So what I see that in order to enhance our bilateral trade, we have to see the areas where we can complement to each other. So we cannot compete for the same product. Rather than taking such approach, it is better for the two governments, you see, to find out the products where we can have the exchange concessions, exchange the product, and increase bilateral trade, increase complementarity. So I think we have to explore that opportunity rather than, you see, exchange. Of course, exchange of information is there, because Her Excellency has rightly pointed out, you see, we have the, you see, World Trade Fair organized in Dhaka, in Kathmandu, and we have the business-to-business meeting. FNCCI people are meeting, FNCCI Nepalese business people are meeting with the Bangladesh business people, and we have the arrangement under the SARC as well, what we call the SARC Chamber of Commerce and Industry as well. They have the regular meetings. So I think the main area that we have to focus is to harness the potentialities of the country based on its capability. Until and unless we do that, we will not be able to increase our trade.
Thank you.
We just had a quick announcement. Dr. Poshash Pandey from Sauti could not make it. Instead, Mr. Kshitij Dahal will be representing Sauti instead of Dr. Pandey. I request Mr. Kshitij Dahal to take your place at the dais.
Thank you. Actually, they really mentioned very nicely about what problems that we face in terms of enhancing our trade. And also, Mr. Ramesh Sultan talked about our embassies are not active. They look like, they are passive. This is an interesting subject for the students to conduct research. Why Nepalese embassy is passive? Why they are not able to function there? Why they are not able to promote the export and promote economic activities between the two countries? That is one subject. And then we have just joined Mr. Kshitij from Sauti. I'd like to welcome him. And we are talking about Nepal, Bangladesh trade and economy relations, and what are the barriers, what are the opportunities that we have. Because you are a research think tank in Kathmandu. You are doing research across South Asia. What sort of opportunities and challenges you have found in a very short brief? Can you mention about that? In a way, you will be given a few minutes.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to express had the privilege to recently do a research on identifying the main trade constraints that has been present between Bangladesh and Nepal. And Our Excellency and Oza sir has already mentioned some excellent points here. But I think there are a few other barriers that are worth mentioning here. So there have been criticism that one of the primary reasons that trade does not exist between Bangladesh and Nepal is the fact that we export similar products and we import similar products. But if we dig deeper into our export basket and Bangladesh's export basket, that is not entirely true. We have some products where we have competitive advantage, and similarly Bangladesh has some products that they could import from Nepal and they could export to Nepal. For example, Bangladesh is a net importer of textiles, although it is one of the best clothing exporter. And similarly, we have some textile products like man-made filaments, where we are a significant net exporter. So there have been certain country constraints which are preventing the trade, and one of them is the products which we have a huge potential to export to Bangladesh. They are under the so-called sensitive list of SAFTA, which exempts this product from the tariff liberalization. So one of the first steps that could be taken is drastically reducing this sensitive list. So it could be done either through SAFTA, or since things move very slowly in SAFTA, or it could be through bilateral negotiations. So that could greatly stimulate the trade between Bangladesh and Nepal. So, and there are other transit concerns as well, since we are geographically close, but still we have to go through the transit in India. So the process like transshipment of goods, transloading of goods, they pose a huge constraint and add significantly to our trade costs. So if we could get better concessions from India through diplomatic negotiations, that could greatly stimulate our trade as well. And non-tariff barriers